To increase productivity, many dental practices have provided employees with computers, iPhones, iPads, or other mobile devices that allow them to handle practice matters while away from the office. While it may be tempting for practice owners, small and large, to increase production by relying on employees to respond to email and manage other tasks away from the office, practice owners that allow their employees to do so should be sure to have a plan for dealing with this particular overtime matter. While employees have tolerated an increased workload and working hours for some time, they've begun to fight back in the courtroom. Recently, many companies have faced lawsuits from current and former employees alleging that they have been unpaid for overtime hours spent working from home on their employer-provided devices. Several of these cases have resulted in multi-million-dollar judgments. From a legal standpoint, we are seeing a dramatic increase in investigations that are being conducted by the U.S. Department of Labor on dental practice overtime matters. Overtime pay for employees is regulated by the federal government under the Fair Labor Standards Act of 1938, better known as FLSA. And under this act, many employees are eligible for overtime pay. While some workers paid on an hourly basis are eligible for overtime pay, some salaried employees qualify for overtime pay as well. And distinguishing between these salaried employees who qualify for overtime pay and those who do not is a particularly challenging area for employers. And I'll tell you, in a dental office, just about every hourly employee, whether it's a dental assistant or dental hygienist, is in fact eligible for overtime pay. Salaried employees such as office managers who manage, hire, and fire other employees, administrators who have decision-making authority, and professionals with advanced degrees, and certain information technology workers, among others, are exempt from laws requiring the practice owner to provide overtime pay. Because distinguishing between these groups of salaried employees is a tedious and fact-based assessment, it is really advisable that dental practice owners consult with an attorney to ensure that they are in compliance with state and federal law. After determining which employees qualify for overtime pay, practice owners should determine the appropriate amount of pay. Under the Fair Labor Standards Act, overtime eligible employees qualify for a pay rate of 150% of the regular pay for all overtime spent working in excess of 40 hours. These employees should be compensated for actual work time spent in excess of 40 hours. Now, this means that if an employee is deemed on call to respond to work-related matters, they likely qualify for overtime pay for the entire amount of on-call period. However, if the employee is generally free to respond to work-related matters at will, they should only be compensated for the actual time spent working on practice-related matters. In order to properly manage risk exposure, dental practice owners should implement one of several options for controlling employees who work from home or outside of the office. First, the practice owner may prohibit employees from working from home or outside the office altogether. If risk management methods avoided the problem of unpaid overtime hours by eliminating the source. Another method for controlling the unpaid overtime risk is reclassifying salaried employees who qualify for overtime pay as hourly employees. Now, under this method, the practice owner may be able to obtain the same overall rate of pay that the employees enjoyed while they received the salary. However, the practice owner will need to pay these employees at an hourly rate that factors in expected weekly overtime pay utilized to complete the assigned tasks. Also, this method may result in decreased employee morale as many employees gain self-fulfillment by receiving a salary from their employers. You know, in any situation where an employee may work from home or outside the office, the owner of the practice must have a system in place to accurately record the time that the employee spends on practice matters. Practice owners may implement a computer software requiring the employee to clock in before accessing company computer systems or email. Now, this allows the practice owner to have an accurate record when the practice owner is compensating the employee for overtime pay. This overtime management system may, however, be cost prohibitive for small practice owners. For practice owners who have a good and honest working relationship with their staff members, the most cost-effective manner of controlling overtime pay may be to rely on employees' self-reporting. Now, obviously, this poses the risk of employees over-reporting time worked from home or outside the office. However, in a small practice environment, management staff should be in a position to adequately evaluate all reported overtime hours and expected workload to ensure that employees are properly reporting overtime hours that they actually work.